When growing your business, probably the most vital component, second to say your product or service, is your clients. Where would you be without them? I guess you'd probably be at home with this really great coaching program that you've rehearsed to yourself in the mirror countless times. That's where. However, the process of getting clients, it's a really big undertaking. It really does require savvy marketing and outreach to draw them to you. But let's say that you've done that part, right? As if you haven't been listening to my advice through all of these podcasts, clients are coming to you consistently, okay? That's great, right? So now what? Well, if you're going to develop a regular relationship with these amazing people, you're going to have to bring them into your world, right? You need to onboard them. So does that mean that you personally will be interacting with each and every single one of them, right? If you want the best results for your brand, it definitely does. And do you need to collect every piece of information from them by hand? No, not necessarily, and definitely not ideally. And while it doesn't always go according to plan, a really great onboarding system really does need to run smoothly to set you and the client up for success. To focus as much energy on the client, I really recommend automating as much of the process as possible. It really gets all of those small details taken care of so that you can work with your client immediately. So to help you design your method, I want to share how to optimize your client onboarding. And I have a really great client onboarding workbook that will walk you through the entire process. Hello and welcome to another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. I'm your host, Jenny Lyon, and today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things, automating your client onboarding. So as I mentioned, I have a really great workbook that I think you will love. You can grab it in the show notes or jump on over to jennylyon.com/onboarding. When it comes to getting to know a prospective client, the first thing that you should really start with is a consultation, right? So I offer a free consultation, and it's the first point of contact that really lets me get to know this prospect a little bit better. I can really hear more about the challenges that they're facing, what's working well for them in their business, and really assess their overall goals and, manage expectations and hopefully come up with a plan of action for working together. And alternatively, it also provides me with the opportunity to get to know them a little bit more, right? I really want to work with clients that are a good fit and vice versa, right? Everyone's not going to be a great fit for you, and that's okay. But when it comes to scheduling your calls with prospects, using a scheduling system is key. Oh my gosh, a scheduling system will really provide you with a professional interface that seamlessly syncs with your online calendar. It will send automated reminders and allows for that two-way communication in one place, which is great. And it's amazing. And it keeps you out of the back and forth of trying to schedule, hey, are you available at Monday at 1, right? They can just pick a time that's going to work best for them, and you're off to the races. So if you're not quite sure how it works, just jump over to my website. Mine pops up right in the lower right-hand corner of my website, and it's amazing. Next up is to keep in touch. Oh my gosh, you can't foster a relationship with your prospective clients if you don't follow up with them, right? And while they'll certainly benefit from your service, it can be really easy for them to forget about you after you've gotten off the phone with them. So don't let yourself get tripped up and miss out on a really great business opportunity because of miscommunication or a lack of follow through. So I'm sure you've probably heard it before, but you have to touch people like 8 or 10 times before they'll potentially become a customer. So following up is really key. And at this point, in my opinion, it's a really crucial phase in that onboarding process, so I like to create a list that clearly lays out my ideal follow-up sequence, right? And then I build those templates in my email so that I can easily pull up an email. I can tweak it a little bit and send it out. So I have like a thank you for meeting with me email, or a have you had a chance to look at my proposal email, right? And having these templates that are really ready to go right at your fingertips It's amazing. You just plug in a couple of details, send it out. You're not recreating the wheel every time that you reach out to a prospective client, which means that you can follow up really quickly after a consultation, or after you've sent a proposal, really at every point in the onboarding process. Next up is digital documents are a must, right? So electronic documentation, it's a staple in the workforce these days, right? Gone are those days of faxing or mailing a contract. That's not going to happen. You really want to make the process really super easy and accessible. And you want clients to be able to sign your contracts really quickly, because nothing will kill a business relationship like a clunky interaction and technical fuss and different types of difficulties. So I have a staple work agreement that I use for all of my clients. If you don't have one, I actually have mine on my website. You can grab it in the shop. But the point is I have it set up. It's set up on DocuSign, which is one of the most well-known systems for getting those electronic signatures. And for really good reason. It's a secure way to do so, and it's super easy for you and your clients to use. So once you have all of the contracts signed, you can dig into the fun stuff. Next up is you really want to wow them with an attractive welcome kit, right? So welcome kits are a great way to really kind of showcase what you're capable of, to your new client. But it also lays out very crucial information that they need, your policies, your, things that they need, expectations, right? And you want it to be presented to them in a very clear and attractive way. And you want it to be professional too. So in my welcome kit, I reference different things like, my policies and expectations, and I outline frequently asked questions, all of those things that I get asked a lot, or that I know a client will need at their fingertips, links for how they schedule calls with me. That way, I can really focus on clarifying the work that needs to be done instead of responding to dozens of emails where they're kind of checking in, wondering about certain parts of my process. And then next up, this is an important one, guys. Don't chase your clients for payment. Oh my gosh. I think probably one of the worst things is asking people for money, right? I mean, you might go to a shop or to the mall and you expect to pay for something, right? It's only natural to, waltz up to the cashier and slap down your plastic, when you're ready to treat yourself. But in other lines of work, where people are paying for your time or your services, sometimes it's kind of a surprise to them, so you don't really want to hound them, of course. You want to automate it. The internet is kind of your oyster when it comes to invoicing programs that will fit your budget. I mean, I personally use one called Harvest, which I absolutely love, mostly because it integrates with my project management system so that it makes it really easy for me to track time. It does it for me. Whenever I'm working on something, it starts my timer. When I'm done, it stops. And it also allows me to create detailed, clean, professional invoices that really will integrate with whatever payment options that I've selected, everything from PayPal to Stripe to checks. And then once they have the invoice in hand, it's really easy for them to process payment on their end. Next up is one of my favorite parts, the kickoff call. Once you have a new client that's completed your contract and paid their invoice and completed their intake form, it's time to really dig into it and schedule your kickoff call. So this really is where you will dig into their short and long-term goals. You'll see their business strengths and areas for improvement, and you'll be able to take all of this information and pull it together so that you have a plan going forward. You can create that plan of how you're going to work together, and you can get started in the right direction, because those first 90 days of a relationship will really set the tone for your business relationship. And then next up is to make project management simple. Oh my gosh, if you have a team, or you're working with several clients on various projects, then you're definitely going to need a system to manage them all. And project management can make or break your business. When there are so many different requests and updates coming at you from every angle, you really do need a system that you can understand, that clearly communicates everything so that it's foolproof. You want to make sure that you choose a program that's going to work well for you and how your brain works, right? I use Teamwork as it offers a really great functionality for my growing business. But I have clients that use other types of project management systems, ClickUp, Asana, Trello. You really do just want to sit down and find one that kind of works the way that your brain works. And then all you really have to do is plug in all those project details and check off the boxes as you finish all those projects up. And then last but not least is you want to keep track of your progress. So losing track of time when you're really buried in a project, that's really easy to do. I mean, especially as a small business owner who's working on a lot of different things. Before you know it, you've really invested way too much time in something that should have been a brief project, or you were fiddling with details and you kind of fell down a rabbit hole. There's a lot of different things that can happen there. So I really recommend using some sort of a time management system. As I mentioned, I use Harvest, and I do so because it integrates with Teamwork, and it really helps me to stay on track. I never want to spend more time than should be spent on a project or a task for a client. And so this really helps me because it provides a guideline, since I know approximately how much time certain tasks or projects take. It holds me accountable to that, right? So I can make sure that I am tracking my time, but staying on track of the time as well. I want my clients to really be happy, because if they're happy, I'm happy. You really can establish a really healthy work-life balance too, if you're tracking your time. And you can make sure that you're giving each project the proper amount of time, but really setting accurate and achievable deadlines and staying on track. All right, so what did we learn today? Oh my gosh, well, automating the client onboarding system will really remove a lot of hassle for you and your new clients, right? It'll really automate that whole process. And you want to have a seamless, easy to use system for your clients to schedule any of their initial consults with you, as well as their regular phone calls, their kickoff calls, their 30-minute conference calls, 1-hour calls, whatever it is. You want them to be able to schedule them at their leisure, so that you don't have to be in the mix for, hey, are you available on Thursday at 4? Next up is make sure you have some templates ready in your email, something that you can fill out quickly and that you can follow up with your clients so that nothing falls through the cracks. That goes for prospects too. Make sure that you're touching base with them. It usually takes 8 to 10 times before someone's going to finally be ready to commit. So don't let them fall off. Make sure you have a follow-up sequence. And if you aren't digital now, get digital. Use digital documentation and e-signature software to get all of your work contracts, anything that all of your legal papers out of the way and stored. You'll be good to go. And make sure that you have an amazing welcome kit that will really wow your clients and answer any of those frequently asked questions and set those expectations right out the gate. And get software that simplifies your billing. This will remove a lot of the fuss from that whole invoicing process. And remember, project management software is also super essential when it comes to keeping track of your projects, and it helps you really keep mind of each task with less hassle. And last but not least is have your billing and your project management systems integrated. Make sure that they're working together to keep track of the progress of your work so that it keeps you on task and accountable. Well, onboarding new clients, well, it's a necessary evil, right? It can be a lot less evil than it needs to be, right? You can set aside the time to plan and implement a solid set of automations that'll save yourself a ton of time in the future. And what's more, you'll know that each prospecting client is getting the same treatment regardless of how busy you are, right? And you really want that healthy, fluid experience when developing a new working relationship with them. So if you aren't already, definitely check out my free workbook, The 8 Steps to Automating Your Client Onboarding. With that in hand, you can really set yourself up for early success. If you need a further hand with getting everything implemented, please reach out. This is the type of work I do all the time. I can really help you set up an entire onboarding system. And really, it's a matter of you, triggering a couple of things to go out to them. It's super easy. I mean, when I used to do it by hand, oh my gosh, I don't even want to admit it, years ago, probably took me an hour or two to onboard a client. Now, I seriously have everything done and sent to them in less than 5 minutes. So if you need any help, please reach out. I'm always happy to chat. you can schedule a call at jennylyon.com/chat, and make sure to grab the onboarding workbook at jennylyon.com/onboarding. And though it does require a little bit of work up front, automating your onboarding will provide you with so much more freedom, and it will really help your small business run smoothly. Well, I hope you found these tips on automating your client onboarding helpful. I really enjoyed sharing them with you. I look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of Digital Marketing Made Simple. See you soon.